This is a Let's Talk Tribe weekly prospect chat recorded on May 18th, 2017. I am your host, Matt Lyons. Joining me, as always, is the man with all the answers. Let's Go Tribe's lead prospect writer, Brian Heminger. Brian, what are we going to talk about today?
Oh, we've got a lot in store. Obviously, big news, Bradley Zimmer, number one or / number two prospect, getting promoted to the Indians. And got a couple injuries that took place down in the farm, some promotions, and then obviously the players of the week. And then, of course, I'll be taking any and all of our questions from the readers of the site and the listeners of the podcast.
And of course, I'm the absolute last person to point out a, what do you call a grammatical speaking error? But I would like Bradley Prospect to be his nickname if he doesn't pan out. It just works out too well. That it's
hey, we saw the best of him on
we did
yesterday, so he's officially a surefire hit.
So we can just talk about him right away. You said we saw the best of him, a double and a home run. I'd say in the first game we saw the worst of him right away, which was over 3 with 3 strikeouts. So just what can we expect from him? What's your overall impression of his first couple games here?
Well, you're going to expect to see some patience at the plate. I mean, when he even in his 0 for 3 game with 3 strikeouts, he still saw like 4 or 5, even 6 pitches in each at bat. So it's not like he just went up there and whiffed in 3 pitches each time, which is always good to know. And then he's 6'5", so he's got a big strike zone. He crouches down in there. I mean, he's got that goofy looking batting stance, but he makes it work. But he's got a lot of swing and miss potential just because of how much how long his arms are. I mean, it's kind of like watching Richie Sexton again, except he's a lot quicker.
Oh, that is a good. I wouldn't say it's a good comparison, but it's a good what you're looking at, a visual comparison. The way he looks is a lot like Richie Sexton.
Just at the plate. Yeah. Like he can cover so much. But I mean, the advantage of that was with those long arms, he can hit the outside of the plate. Like guys, if they stay in the zone against him, he's going to be able to hit the ball and hit it hard. And you saw yesterday with the best of him, I mean, you don't even have to hit it the middle of the plate. If you just even the outside of the plate, he can take it the other way, and he has power. And it was even on his out. I mean, he hit it almost to the warning track on a pop-up. I mean, this guy, when he hits the ball, he hits it hard. And I think, and he didn't embarrass himself in the outfield. I mean, he didn't have to make any crazy plays yet, but that's always a bonus.
Yeah, he is an absolute a gazelle in the outfield. Watching him, it's just 3 steps he's across the outfield because he's so tall. And he did sort of make. I mean, it wasn't an out, but he dove and he knew to just bat the ball down. That was in his first game, I think.
Yeah, and he kept it. Yeah, he kept the ball from getting by him, which is better than Kevin Kiermaier did last week.
Yeah, so it's a smart play. Yeah.
Yeah,
he just hasn't robbed anybody like it's been happening to the Indians.
Yeah,
but I'm sure it'll happen. I can't wait to see him leap the wall.
Yeah, with his height, he can make some plays at fences.
Yeah. The only other thing, maybe you don't know this, maybe you do, but so he's always scouted as having quote unquote 20 home run power, but he's never actually hit 20 home runs in the minors. Is it just kind of a thing where he's hitting a bunch of doubles and triples, and scouts can just say yeah, that'll turn into homers eventually? Or what leads them to say that somebody has 20 home run power?
Well, you look at their frame too. I mean, he's got that wiry frame, and you know that as he fills out and adds muscle, and we saw the muscles too. He was flexing with his balls, the double and the home run balls, the baseballs, but he was flexing with those, and you're just like, wow, this guy's he's giving Yandy a run for his money with those biceps, and I mean, the power is just there. I mean, he just hasn't kind of squared up enough, but you know that when he does, I mean, they're going to go a long way. And he was leading all Indians prospects in doubles already. He had 11, I think, heading into his promotion. So, I mean, and you saw it. I mean, his first 2 hits cranked one off the top of or about 3/4 of the way up the wall, and then he blasted one to right center field. I mean, that's not exactly a spot you're expecting somebody to hit their first home run.
Yeah, and that combination, speed and power that he has, that's exciting in itself. I mean, you can have the Bobby Bradleys of the world, which is power and they're big lumbering first baseman, but the fact that he's a center fielder and he's so fast and he has so much power is really exciting. Because especially I like fast center fielders in general. That's why I like Kenny Lofton so much, and I was excited for Greg Allen, but I'm
Hmm.
also excited for Bradley Zimmer because he's a speedy, tall center fielder, which is it's just a weird package altogether, I think. And if he pans out, he's going to
Yeah,
be a really unique player.
yeah. That's why people are so excited about him. We got to see. I mean, the guy is a five-tool player. He's got the arm, he's got the defense, he's got the speed, and he's got the power, and he's got the ability to hit for average. The only thing is the strikeouts, and I honestly think that'll get better as his career progresses. He's still so young. He's going to strike out a lot. We're going to have to be patient with him because when he does make contact, that ball goes far.
It's going to go far a lot, I'm sure. So something less fun, to make a nice little bridge from Bradley Zimmer over to the minor league injury stuff. A lot of people are asking why not Tyler Naquin. I mean, for one, Bradley Zimmer has a much higher ceiling. If Bradley Zimmer is ready, you bring him up over Tyler Naquin. But the other reason is that Naquin is on the disabled list. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure he still is now, but he was for a little bit. And then there's also a couple other injuries you wanted to
mhm.
talk about. So what's
Yeah,
going on down
Naquin.
there?
Yeah, Naquin's still on the disabled list. He got put on with a back injury. He left a game middle of the game just his back was acting up on him. He went on the disabled list, and I think it's kind of similar to what Kluber's been going through, and he hasn't played since. So he's just still chilling on that minor league 7-day disabled list that they have. And then no like new major like people being put on the disabled list. Leandro Linares, the really good reliever prospect that hadn't given up a run all season, he got taken off of the disabled list this week, which is always good news. You're always happy to see guys get activated. Um, and then he's back at High A Lynchburg. Mitch Longo got activated. I think he never was really on the disabled list, but he was just in extended spring training because he hadn't started the season yet. But he was recovering from a broken hamate bone injury, similar to what Greg Allen is currently working on. And Longo is playing at Lake County right now, and he had a monster game yesterday. I think he had 3 hits. So he's back and healthy. And then the other injury, we don't know how serious it is. Um, Bobby Bradley left with like a middle finger injury in the middle of the game. Mike Poppy went substituted in for him on Tuesday, and Bradley left in the middle of the game. He did not play yesterday. They had an off day today, and he wasn't put on the disabled list, so I'm assuming he'll play tomorrow, but it's just something to keep an eye on. So I think that's about it on injury news, at least with the prospects.
So nothing too bad. Just the fact that
Yeah.
Bobby Bradley is kind of a highly touted prospect for injured, but that's about it. He's not
Mhm.
major, I don't think. And like you said, Naquin is just a back thing. And do you think even if he wasn't injured, would Zimmer have been the one to come up anyway?
Yeah, you
Was
have
this
to
kind of
go
his
Zimmer.
time? Yeah.
He's and especially with how hot he's been. I mean, he was on an 8-game hitting streak, just torching the ball, hitting
Yeah.
home runs and doubles all over the place. He's ready. Like he's like the things that people were worried about when he initially got promoted to AAA last year, when he was striking out like 38% of the time, batting like 220. That was in the past. He was batting about 290, striking out about 29% of the time. So he's ready.
So sort of related, we just got a comment from Chris Hochshelter. He basically just wants to know Zimmer or Diaz. That's his whole comment. I'm assuming who do you think? I don't know. We'll say who has the better future, who better overall player. I guess. I think I might know the answer.
Yeah,
But
it's Zimmer.
yeah,
I mean, I personally am the biggest fan of Yandy Diaz in the world, but you saw that even in his brief time in the outfield that he's not a natural outfielder. I mean, he did not look that comfortable out there. I mean, I still think he's got the best eye in the system in terms of drawing walks. But for some reason, like he does not strike out in the minor leagues at all. But major league pitching, he is having a lot of trouble not striking out. Like, and obviously the ground ball rate that's something that's going to have to improve drastically. I mean, he hits home runs every time we send him down. He had a home run today, and but he can't seem to keep the ball off the ground when he's batting for the Indians. But he'll turn it around. The main thing, though, is Yandy's more of an offensive prospect, and I don't know what his position is going to be for the Indians because Jose Ramirez has third base locked down right now, and he's a better third baseman than Yandy, even though Yandy's not bad at third. And we're gonna have to find a spot for him. Maybe he could transition to first, but he'd have to hit for more power.
yeah, the only thing I could think of is it's probably not going to happen now, but like that crazy theory going around about moving Jason Kipnis to center field and then bumping Jose
Yeah.
to second, but that's not going to happen. So
We've got way too many good center fielders to be moving Kipnis
yeah.
to center.
Oh, it's such a hard problem to have. It's so difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually, like, he might just be a trade piece eventually. I don't know. But it's also important to remember that we really all loved Yandy, but that was taking him from a prospect who wasn't really known to, hey, this guy could be kind of good, which is why we loved him. And Zimmer's just been a top prospect all along, so he's gonna probably be better overall.
And Zimmer just
that he will be.
Yeah, and Zimmer has the tools too. Like Yandy's not going to be out there stealing a ton of bases. Zimmer, I bet he could steal. I mean, he could be a 20-20 guy, and Yandy doesn't. I mean, he has a good arm. Zimmer has at least as good arm, if not better. And then obviously Zimmer is just a natural outfielder. I mean, he just looks like he knows what he's doing out there.
He does. The guy's like 90% likes. It's crazy. And the other thing I wanted to mention was Zimmer and Naquin. With apologies to Naquin, I don't think it's going to be long before people fall in love with Zimmer the way they did Tyler. Once he has like one or two big moments like Tyler did, Zimmer's going to obviously hit more home runs, so he's going to have more likely to have them. But I think it's only a matter of time before people kind of are okay with Tyler Naquin not being up when Zimmer really gets going, because the power, the speed, everything's going to be so much fun to watch. More than Naquin, I think.
Yeah, I think Zimmer's up for good. Like when Austin Jackson is ready to return from the disabled list, and that's probably pretty soon, I think that they'll just send Daniel Robertson down. Like Zimmer, I don't know if he's ever going down unless he like really, really struggles.
Yeah, but it's his at this point. And speaking of Robertson, did you see the when Zimmer hit his home run, they did the Bash Brothers thing?
Yeah, that was
really
hilarious.
Cool. I love that. I don't know if he's gonna do it forever.
Just the old forearm smash.
Yeah. I asked if he did it. I asked somebody in the Clippers if he did all the time. They didn't know, but I looked through his home runs. He didn't. So maybe there's like spontaneous, like I hit a home run, I'm going to do it, and then he did it. And it was really cool. So yeah, so let's talk about some strange promotions. Well, I wouldn't say strange, but interesting promotions.
Pretty strange.
The main one that I want to talk about is Connor Marabell. He went from High A all the way to Columbus. He skipped Double A. So we've talked about it in like the minor league recaps and stuff, but that's probably not permanent, right? So do you want to explain what's going on with that one? And there's a couple others you wanted to mention too.
Yeah. Well, Maribel last year led all Indians prospects in doubles with 45. I mean, he had a great season. It was his breakout season last year. And he's been off and on this year, like a little bit injured, had a stint on the disabled list, but he was doing okay at High A. And then boom, they promote him to AAA. The main reason they did that is because right now Columbus doesn't have Daniel Robertson. They don't have Bradley Zimmer. Tyler Naquin's hurt. Yandy Diaz was on his way back. They weren't sure if he was going to be able to play. And that day, and they're just like, we need an outfielder. And I think Akron was on the road. So they had to make a decision. And Akron really didn't have any guys that can play center field either. So Connor Marabell was, and they have plenty of outfielders at High A. They play 4 outfielders almost every day, and they have one, and they're always playing different positions at High A Lynchburg, and so they were able to squeeze a player over. And Connor, he's doing okay. He's got 3 games. He's picked up 2 hits and a walk, I think. So I mean, he's not doing amazing, but hey, make the best of your opportunity right now, young gun. And he's not going to stay there, obviously. Right now, they're just treating him like kind of an org filler. But I mean, he has the potential to be a player that could make it to the Indians or to the major leagues at least someday. But I expect that when Austin Jackson's ready to go, then they'll send Daniel Robertson down and Maribel back to High A.
Yeah, some minor league weirdness shuffling around.
Yeah, I mean, they did a similar thing last year with Nick Pasquale, who was at High A, and then he made some spot starts with Triple A, like instead of going to Double A, just because they needed a starter, and he was available, or for some reason he was more available than a Double A guy.
Yeah. So what were the other ones you wanted to mention?
Well,
other promotions.
Columbus had a couple horrific starts and some double headers this week, so they had to basically borrow Akron's bullpen.
Hey, can we have this?
Yeah, it started with David Spear and Matt Whitehouse. Spear actually started the second game of the doubleheader, and then Matt Whitehouse came in and ruined it. He went like 2/3 of an inning and gave up 7 earned runs. His ERA is 94 at AAA right now.
Yeah, that's fine. That's sustainable.
Yeah. And then they sent them back the second that game was over, and then they called up Neil Holland and somebody else. I forget who the other one was. And then today, Sean Mormando throws his best start of the season, 7 shutout innings, strikes out 6, I don't know if he walks a batter, and then Neil Holland comes in and gives up 4 runs, and they lose. So they can basically blame their last 2 losses on the Akron bullpen.
Things are rough in Columbus right now. The whole starting rotation. Clevenger was the only good one, and the Indians took him.
Yeah.
And then Merritt, Maramando.
Well, Moramando's getting my Player of the Week nomination, actually. His last 2 starts, 0 runs allowed, 13 innings. He's done a really good job. So maybe he's turning it around. He was atrocious before that. And honestly, 3 starts ago, I think he went like 3 innings or 4 innings and gave up 8 runs. But his last 2 starts in the past week were amazing. So he's getting a Player of the Week nomination for sure.
Well, that's interesting. His ERA is like still over 5, I think, right in the whole season.
Oh yeah,
because of those first couple games. It'd be kind of interesting if he.
I've got him here. Let's see. His ERA on the season is 5.04, and that's after 2 straight really good starts.
Yeah, it tells you how bad the whole rotation was.
Yeah, 13 innings, 10 hits, 2 walks, 13 strikeouts. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and Mason Shattuck in the comments, he wants to know the Columbus rotation is brutal. Any of the Akron guys going to get the call to AAA soon? I guess we can count that as any of them coming permanently, not just these guys who are borrowing.
They called up Michael Peoples permanently because they expect that Clevenger's up for a while. And Michael Peoples is more of an org filler guy, but he's decent starter depth in the organization. The next guy I want to keep an eye on for getting called up is Julian Merriweather. He has the best fastball in the system. He tops out about upper 90s. I think he can hit 98, 99. And he's a little older for a prospect. He's like at 25 or 26. But, this guy is legit. His last start, he struck out 10 guys, career high. And he has great control. He broke out last season at Lynchburg. And then he's really starting to kick it in a notch right now at AA. So I expect that he'll be called up pretty soon. Like you see, he was the opening day starter for Akron as well.
Do we dare say the T word with AAA this year? Or is that not going to happen no matter how good he does?
What do you mean?
Tristan McKenzie.
Oh.
Like his ceiling is pretty much AA at this point.
Yeah. McKenzie's getting called up to AA at the All-Star break. I'm almost certain with that. I think the
rest of the year.
Yeah, I think right now they want to let him keep facing the same people over and over again because you got to make a lot of adjustments in that league, and that's a really important thing at the high A level because it's a smaller league. You're facing a lot of the same teams, and if you want to be able to be consistent and keep dominating, you have to keep adjusting. And his last start, McKenzie actually gave up 4 runs in 6 1/3, struck out 8 still, only gave up 3 hits, but one of them was a 3-run homer. So it was also his first home run allowed at the high A level. So
that's horrible prospect.
Yeah. What a bum. Gave up one big hit.
Cut him. But still 8 strikeouts and what is that, like his worst minor league game in a long time? And
it was I'd say it was his second worst of the season. He had 1 bad start. I wouldn't even call that a bad start. He had 1 bad start earlier this year where he was just didn't quite have his command. Yeah. But for the most part, his ERA is still like 2.1 or 2.2 for the season. He's just destroying people.
Yeah, and again, like 19 in high A, which is crazy. So, Brian, let's move on to our Player of the Week stuff. Well, I guess your Player of the Week stuff. So, who do you got? I already mentioned Sean Mormando because he's got his 2 starts in and looked great. Mm-hmm. Who else you got coming up tomorrow?
There's a couple other ones. Merriweather, I just mentioned he had a great start. I think 6 innings, struck out 10. And who else? Eric Stamets, the sure-handed shortstop prospect. He started the season at AAA, and he was so bad that they demoted him. He had 1 hit in his first 14 games.
Oh wow, that's less than good.
Yeah, And then they demoted him to Double A, and then he just caught fire and just started blistering the ball. And he was batting. He went from batting like 0.5 to batting over 300 with Akron and just cranking doubles left and right. And then they promoted him back up to AAA when they called up Eric Gonzalez and DFA'd Michael Martinez, RIP. And Stamets hit a home run today. He's been doing a nice job. So he will be getting a Player of the Week nomination as well. And I'll have to look in and try to find the other ones. I was thinking about Connor Capel because he had 2 home runs in the same game, but that was about it for this past week. He didn't really have many other good games. So I'm going to have to do some digging to get the other 3.
I don't know about the week, but was it? Oh, who was it? Somebody's had a bunch of like 2-hit games. Was it Tyler Krieger? I think so. He had an off game
Sam Haggerty.
Yeah, Haggerty. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to look because he returned from injury. I don't know how many games he was able to play this past week.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, this is last week overall.
But yeah, he had another triple, which leads all of baseball, major leagues or minor leagues. He's tied for first place with 7. I mean, the guy is a monster right now. He's not hitting for like home run power, but doubles and triples, it's disgusting right now.
So, Brian, everybody in the comments, we're going to move on to our questions. Of course, if you guys have any right now that you want answered, go ahead and drop them in the comments. But we did round up a few earlier on Twitter and on Facebook. Every Thursday, we ask you guys for prospect questions. This week, our first one is at Alanin on Twitter. He wants to know what prospects could be theoretically packaged to get a starter. I mean, realistically, it's probably too early to talk about trade deadline stuff, but let's say for whatever reason the Indians hit the deadline, they want a starting pitcher. What could they package to get some kind of like top of the line guy, or even you can just sign a like minor package to get some fringe for a starter? Yeah.
Well, the thing you want to look at for the most tradable prospects for the Indians are the guys where we have blockers, and then we still have guys in like our top 10 that are good. So the guys that would make the most sense that wouldn't hurt us a ton to trade would be like Yu Chang. I mean, if they want to extend Carlos Santana, then Bobby Bradley suddenly becomes expendable. Then you have guys like Eric Gonzalez. I mean, right now he is a top 10 prospect in the system, and he's the utility guy, and he's going to be the utility guy forever at this rate unless somebody's hurt. So Eric Gonzalez is still expendable. And so I think those 3 right now are all top 10 prospects that if you could package them together and make something happen. I just can't see them wanting to unload Francisco Mejia at this point or Tristan McKenzie. And obviously, Zimmer's up for good. There's no way I think they want to trade him. Maybe Tyler Naquin becomes expendable with Greg Allen coming up. And then we have a bunch of other outfield prospects, just waiting in the wings. So I think that those are I would say those are the guys right now that would make the most sense.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. So they're not looking to like deal away any of their top guys like Mejia, or you didn't mention Tristan McKenzie or anything like that.
Yeah. I think McKenzie and Mejia are off limits, but maybe Brady Aiken could become available with he's been struggling. So maybe if the Indians are impatient, they could pull a Mike Clevenger and give him up while he's struggling coming off of Tommy John. And then Aiken makes us pay every year after that, every time we face him, like Clevenger's going to do to the Angels forever.
Well, I hope the Indians get at least more than like, what was it, a year and a half of a 30-year-old reliever?
Yeah,
they trade Brady Aiken. I always get a mix up with those Joe Smith or Vinny Pastano, one of the two. I think it was Vinny.
Yeah, it was Vinny.
Was it? Yeah.
That was the best trade, one of the best trades we've ever made.
I know, it's crazy how good he's been. Every time that he comes up and like plays the Angels, I always see everybody post. I'm like, oh, we had him, remember? Wasn't that fun? And I always forget that Clevenger had Tommy John surgery. So
yeah, considering how many issues the Angels starting pitching has had, I think they're trying out Doug Fister right now, and I think they're about to sign him. And I'm sure that they would love to have Mike Clevenger.
Oh yeah, for sure. He'd be an everyday starter there, I would think, right now, right? Like,
oh yeah, right now he would. Absolutely.
Our next one is Mike Bobo on Facebook. He wants to know which prospect has been the biggest surprise so far, and which prospect has been the biggest disappointment so far.
Okay, I'm going to name a couple. Biggest surprise, we've talked about him a little bit. Sam Haggerty. I mean, he was a guy that was more of a utility role player last year, batting in the low 200s in his first full season at Lake County. And then all of a sudden, he is leading the Indians in almost every significant statistical category: batting average, OPS, doubles, triples, stolen bases. He has 10. I mean, the guy is just killing it right now. So offensively, he is definitely the biggest surprise. I would say number 2 surprise offensively, Mike Poppy. I mean, the guy's batting over 300. He's hit like 6 or 7 home runs. He's leading the organization in on-base percentage. He's finally showing the glimpse, the promise of what we drafted him at, like that major league batting eye with good contact ability. So I'm hoping they can keep this up all season. But Poppy has been carrying Akron offensively right now. And then pitching-wise, it's got to be Thomas Pannone. I mean, that kid is unbelievable. He wasn't even in MLB Pipeline's top 30 prospects, and he went on a 51.2 consecutive scoreless inning streak. Now, I don't know exactly how they're going to rule how that scoreless streak went, because he started a game, it was pouring rain, and he gave up like 2 runs the other day, and then they suspended the game. And I think they were planning on playing it again the next day, and then that game got canceled. So I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know if it counts towards his record or not. So we'll have to wait and see on if his scoreless inning streak continues.
It's a very weird issue. I never even thought of that.
Yeah.
It's like if they never play it again, or
yeah,
if they never
I don't
resume
know.
it. I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea how that's going to work out.
And then if he like pitches in between, like if he has a few more starts, do those count as the inning? That's so weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just super strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the people that have been very pleasant surprises. Now, disappointments, number 1 offensively, and it's not even close, Nelly Rodriguez. He's batting 100, batting 9th in the batting order. And this is a guy that was batting 4th all last season for Akron. He had like 28 home runs, like 80 or 90 RBIs, a bunch of doubles. I mean, he was an offensive wrecking machine in Akron. And this year he's batting 100. They dumped him to 9th in the batting order. He's basically playing every other day now. They're not even playing him every day. Chris Colabello's taken most of his playing time. And he's striking out like 50% of his plate appearances. I mean, it is atrocious. And the jump from AA to AAA is not that severe. I have no idea what's going on with Nelly Rodriguez offensively. But, I mean, he is – I mean, I'm thinking about just completely giving up on the guy. It's been atrocious. Just makes no sense. And then pitching-wise, I would say Juan Hillman and Brady Aiken have both been disappointments. Brady Aiken – I can't believe his ERA is only 4.3. If you look, his WHIP is like 2. He is letting 2 guys on per inning, and he is getting more people to ground into double plays and picking people off, and just he is the ultimate Houdini act right now. Like, I want to watch his starts just to see what in the world starts happening when he gets guys on base. Like, maybe he just like locks down and focuses, like he needs guys on base. Maybe he's better out of the stretch than he is out of the windup. I don't know, but he has not been playing very well. His strikeout rate's way down. His command's off. His walks are way up. He's not pitching deep into games at all, and they're trying to stretch him out, but he's just I don't know if he's pitched past the 6th, even into the 6th inning, or at least definitely not past the 6th inning yet. And then Juan Hillman has also been a big disappointment. I don't know how he did today. Maybe he'll surprise me, but he entered today with his ERA at 9 on the season, which is not very good for a top 10 pitching prospect in the promotion. Let's see how he did. Come on, Juan, don't let me down. He gave up 3 runs in the first 2 innings, and then they never scored again. Well, so let's see. He went 5 innings, 3 runs, 3 strikeouts, 3 walks, 6 hits. So that's actually one of his best starts this season.
Lowered his ERA, at least.
Yeah, it lowered it to 8.44.
There you go.
But then Tanner Tolley, who I think should be starting right now for Lake County, he came in and provided 4 innings of long relief, no runs.
Wow.
But yeah, Aiken and Hillman have definitely been disappointments so far.
Yeah, Aikens had a couple really strange games, like that one where he didn't strike out anybody and walked 8 or 7 or 8, something crazy like that. And
It was 8, I think.
yeah. And I'm sure it's a coincidence, but it's really weird that we all thought Nelly Rodriguez would be taken in the Rule 5 draft for sure. Like, that's an easy pick. And then everybody passed him, and now we kind of see why. I don't
Yeah.
know if, like, everybody saw something that wasn't really apparent to just people looking at box scores and occasionally watching games, but scouts probably saw something that was clear. Like, once he reaches AAA, there's going to be a wall, and he's not going to be able to get over it. And he really hasn't so far.
Yeah, he is struggling as mightily as I've ever seen someone struggle.
Yeah, which is unfortunate for the Indians because he would be completely expendable if he was really good, and he'd be a really good trade chip. But
There's nobody there. There's nobody that's going to want him.
Yeah,
Like if they didn't want Jesus Aguilar, they definitely don't want Nelly right now.
oh man, Jesus Aguilar. I think he's hit a couple home runs for
Yeah, yeah. Jesus has been playing great.
Yeah, I don't know how long that'll
It's
last, but
Yeah, the problem is he's sharing first base with Marcus Thames.
yeah. So our last question that we got beforehand was from Matt McPhee. He wants to know less than a month until the draft, considering our current farm system, draft slot, first pick not till 64, and current major league roster. Do you see the Indians making? Do you see the Indians? Oh, do you think the Indians should draft high ceiling guys like prep arms, or higher floor guys like college bats?
Well, one thing the Indians have been doing a lot is they've been taking their first pick on a high ceiling guy, like a prep guy. Like they did that last year with Nolan Jones and Will Benson right away, and then they went hard on some low floors or high floors. That's what it is. I knew I could figure it out.
There's a floor somewhere.
They went hard on some high floor guys like Aaron Cavell and Shane Bieber, and Cavell and Bieber are crushing it right now with our round 3 and round 4 picks. I mean, Bieber already got promoted to high A this season. Cavell is going to be right behind him any day now. So I think this year they might just skip that first, super potential prep prospect, and then they'll just go right into their high floor guys. Because those high floor guys, they have been killing it with their selections. Like the Indians are doing their homework. Even guys that we're not even super familiar with, like you can tell that they know what they're doing out there, because those guys they have been performing above and beyond. Like last year's top 10, all the college players that they drafted have been absolutely destroying. I have been so impressed, whether it was like up in the Cavalls and Biebers at rounds 3 and 4, or super late guys like Ben Krauth, who's been one of the best relievers in the Tribe system since he's been drafted, and Tanner Tully, like a guy that got in like the 25th round, and his ERA is like 1.6, and he started and relieved all season. So yeah, they're doing a great job.
Yeah, and this is year after year. There's really great drafts, which is going to keep the Indians open, or the Indians window open for a while, and it's kind of the reason that like Edwin's struggle in the major league level isn't as big of a deal as it could be, because the Indians have so much young talent coming up where they don't need to just pump money into a free agent. So drafting really well. Just do that, teams. Come on, just put in a ton of homework, make the correct choices. You'll be fine. No big deal. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
So Brian,
it can be hard. I mean, as evidenced by right before Grant took over, we had about a stretch of about 10 years with no good prospects that made the team.
Yeah, that was a long time. And I mean, like all the earlier years, like the 70s and 80s, and all those struggles we've seen for so long. So Mason Shattuck in the comments, he wants to know, where'd it go? The one he said was that Hillman was almost as good as McKenzie at Mahoning Valley last year. And yeah, that's true. I mean, we thought his struggles at the end were just fatigue because he was pitching so much, but it's carried over, which is really unfortunate for Hillman.
Well, the one good thing I've noticed is Hillman has actually gotten better every start. Like today, I think was his best start of the season, and his ERA is lowering every start. And today was actually, let's see, he had 3 walks today, but he's actually been a lot better with walks. Like he's not a guy that's going to blow people away, so he doesn't get a lot of strikeouts. But entering today, he had 3 of his last 4 outings not giving up a single walk. So I think his command is getting better. Now he just has to work on hitting his spots better and not serving up meatballs, because I watched him pitch and he was getting ahead of a lot of hitters, but the problem was he wasn't just hitting the corners. I mean, he was first pitch, down the middle type of thing, and then when they realized what was happening, guy first pitch blasted a home run. So he's a pitch to contact guy that just needs to work on forcing guys to make weak contact. And that's just a part of the development process. I'm not thinking Hillman is a lost cause or anything. He doesn't have that electric stuff like McKenzie. Yeah. So he needs to work a little bit better on hitting his spots. And once he does, I think he'll do just fine. I mean, look at Xiaoqing Chang. I mean, that guy has been unbelievable this year, and he doesn't hardly strike out anybody ever.
Yeah, just a different way to win that some pitchers have. I think, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say Chang would be another guy that's been a hugely impressive for me with how he's performed. Let's see, he started today too, so let's see how he did. He went 7 2/3 innings, and didn't give up a run until the 6th inning, but then he gave up 5.
Oh, geez.
But that was in the 6th and 8th innings, so third time through the order. Yeah. But I mean, this guy has been going 7 or more in almost all of his starts.
Yeah, and I think the thing with like Helmand, you don't really mind that he has a higher ERA at first, as long as it's lowering. Like when he gets to that new level and he's trying out things, it's fine if he struggles, as long as you see it going down. It's not steadily either going up or staying flat. And
the main thing is to see that the walks are not going crazy.
Right.
The main thing you want to look at is command. Is he hitting the zone? And then you can work on hitting your spots better. So, and that's just something he's going to have to keep working on. And we've got a full season instead of a half season, so we got a lot more time to work on it. Yep. I mean, it's still only a month and a half into the year, and there's a long season to go.
And our final question, again from Mark Shattuck, a very important one. Brian, what's your Twitter? This is great stuff.
I have 2 Twitter accounts. The main one I use is @BrianHeminger, super easy. And then I also have one, and that one is just everything. Like, I'll be posting a ton of rock festival stuff on it this week, so it's going to annoy people if you don't like rock music. I'm at Rock on the Range. I'm getting as close as I can to every band, getting a good picture, and then tweeting about whatever I thought of each band. And then, so if you don't want that stuff, follow my baseball Twitter, which is @TribeTimeLGT, I think.
Yep.
So
you think? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure
it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
And that one I post just if I think of some fun facts about some prospects, or I'm impressed by some performance or whatever. So that one I'm always talking baseball, and I only follow Indians prospects and Indians news and everything Indians.
Cool. Well, Brian, thank you for joining me as always on these weekly prospect chats. They're always fun. Thank you everyone listening now live for asking all your questions. If you're listening now on a podcast service, wherever, whenever, even if you're listening at the top of the Player of the Week post right now on a YouTube video, thank you too. It all helps. And we will talk to you guys next week. See you then.
See ya.